Hi everybody. We are, well, that's interesting. We are here today my name is Jamie and I can play guitar, and today we're going to play 30 minutes or so of guitar. It is June 14th, 2023, and we're here in beautiful Buffalo, New York, live. This is day, let's see here. It's day 4. And we're on day 4 of our streak of playing guitar for 30 minutes every day. Today we're going to be watching some videos on YouTube. You can watch along really easily, right up in the corner here. And Trump is Going to Jail is the first one by Hassan Abi. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States of America, has pled not guilty to 37 federal charges that range from espionage, collusion to withhold information, obstructing justice charges, and holding onto classified documents long after he was allowed to hold onto it with the full knowledge that they were actually classified documents. We've talked about it extensively. I'm going to say some stuff here, okay? Every conservative that's trying to engage in any kind of defensive posture here is literally so incredibly aware of how over the situation is. They are so incredibly aware of it that they can't really say, oh, this is a witch hunt, these charges are bullshit. They literally are just basically stating, well, Joe Biden maybe did some stuff. Hillary Clinton did some stuff. Hillary Clinton wasn't arrested. Isn't that fucked up? And it's like, well, you can't go to court with that. You can't take that to the motherfucker bank, buddy. You can't just walk up to a judge on your personal criminal court case and say, Your Honor, I've done a murder. Sure, you caught me red-handed. Fine. But think about all of the other people that also have done murders that have not been arrested for it. That only works maybe for the fucking idiots, okay? Maybe for the dumbasses. And even those dumbasses are probably looking at that. They love Trump anyway. They love Trump anyway. They already love him. They think that it's like the special prosecutor is gay and a secret agent of the pedophile vampires that are in charge of the government or whatever the fuck, right? So those guys were already not very fond of Donald Trump. I mean, super fond of Trump and not very fond of anyone who is Donald Trump's enemies. Does this actually harm him in the eyes of moderates? I do think so. Absolutely. I do absolutely believe that. This situation actually kind of dramatically changes the Republican primary a little bit. There are 37 counts here, and what I have seen so far and what I've talked about thus far with respect to like what the Republicans are leaning on, Donald Trump needs to get rid of all 37. He can't just say like, oh, it's fine. Like Donald Trump's team needs to get rid of all, like fight against all 37 charges. However, Fox News broadcasters and people like Lindsey Graham are basically trying to focus on one or two and going, well, they're overcharging him. They're overcharging him. And it's like, yeah, but there's dead to rights charges in there that already have so much verifiable, factually accurate information, like Donald Trump's firsthand accounts of Donald Trump openly stating that he knew that these documents were classified and whatnot, that he's absolutely cooked. That's all you need. You don't need 36 charges. You need one. So you're fucking cooked. DNA, fingerprints, recordings, witnesses, it's comprehensive. Exactly. The feds don't fuck around. I understand why they get like 96% conviction rates now. I mean, the federales, they don't fuck around, dog. I really thought that they fucked around, but turns out the only one who was fucking around and finding out was Donald Trump, okay? I mean, it's crazy. It is actually crazy. But also, Donald Trump, very criminal guy. He is the absolute worst at doing crimes, and he has done it so consistently. He is, as I said, the perfect person to be in the crosshairs of the federal agents for a crime that normally would be like maybe like a rule-breaking situation, but
it's just, if you haven't been paying attention, quickly, for a fucking quick update, Trump has been showing people classified documents but going, but don't get too close because it's secret. It's so good. All right, I gotta take a quick relief break. Be right back.
flagrant, abusive way that it all of a sudden turns into a federal crime. It's perfect. But yeah, he is now under arrest and booked on federal charges. Former President Donald Trump, 46 minutes ago, according to CNN, is under arrest and booked on federal charges. And what an incredible way to go out. He was heading to the court and he was still posting up until he was arrested. He is a true poster, 100%. The GOAT. The most goated poster president of all fucking time. Straight up. Feds usually also take years at sometimes to complete large investigations. This took like 6 months. This means Trump sucks at crime, just awful. Yes. But can you really blame him? This is the question I have on my mind right now, and I'm sure plenty of you are also thinking. And the answer is not really, because he kind of got away with it his entire life. He has never actually seen any criminal punishments for all of the crimes that he has engaged in. So much so that he's basically used to just saying, like, what are they going to do? Arrest me? Get the fuck out of here. I'm Donald Trump. I'm the motherfucking president, dog. Which is fine, but unfortunately, he's no longer president. So when you're no longer president, well, then it doesn't matter. When you're no longer president, you're just a guy. You're just some guy. You know, Teflon Don, big chink in the armor. Okay. Turns out 70 plus years of just like failing upwards and doing crimes in broad daylight, openly, things that other people would have gotten absolutely destroyed over. He thought he could get away with, and he got comfy. He got comfy. He wasn't even trying to he didn't have any of that paranoia that most rugged criminals have that render them, that incapacitates them, but also basically forces them to cover up their footsteps and their tracks regularly. Donald didn't do any of that. He was out in broad daylight doing that shit. You know, he was like, what's up? It's fine. I'm doing crimes here. I'm doing crimes. I'm fully aware that I am doing crimes right now. This is the crime I'm doing, the specific crime. Here's the rule in the rule book that says I'm not allowed to do it. Here is me doing it. Here, take a photo. That's our situation. I love it. How can you not? The only hurdle in the way of justice being served in this situation is that, as far as I understand, this judge is a partial one, not an impartial one. He is a Trump-appointed judge. However, it was a Trump-appointed judge that allowed for the investigation to continue. It was a Trump-appointed judge that gave a subpoena, that signed off on a search warrant. So it doesn't really matter if one is a Trump-appointed judge. Trump-appointed judges sometimes will still do this thing where they're like, oh, well, I care about the rule of law. So that's what matters. That's what matters. My favorite podcast, Mueller, She Wrote, has some sweet copium on this. I don't know how real this is, but according to Joyce White Vance, from MSNBC, the CIPA, the Classified Information Production Act that governs this case, includes an immediate right on expedited appeal. So if the DOJ doesn't like a decision by Aileen Cannon, they can go straight to the 11th Circuit. That gives DOJ not only the opportunity to appeal her substantive decisions, but it also gives DOJ an automatic trigger to ask the 11th Circuit to reassign the case to a different judge quickly. So ultimately, even if it is even if it's rigged in Trump's favor by this judge, they can just, move it around. But also, remember, go back to the fucking evidence. You know what I mean? And there's so much of it. Apparently, it's getting a bit rowdy outside the courthouse, but not all that crazy. I'm not going to lie. Post January 6th, this is the only time I thought, because given that it's in Miami, given that there was prior knowledge that this was going to happen, I thought this would be one final hurrah. I thought, maybe post January 6th. I know a lot of people are still terrified of getting arrested for protesting and shit like that. I thought maybe there would be a bigger crowd. I'm not kidding. They fell off. The hogs have fucking fallen off, dude. Too short notice for this one to be any good. No, there's two reasons for this. Remember, there is no fucking protest for an individual person in the Republican side that is not astroturfed. Turning Point USA would send buses full of people, then this is documented. Turning Point USA and every other Republican operative and Republican organization sent buses full of people to the Capitol. If you don't have the instruments of the Republican Party on your side, pushing for you and pushing to create chaos, you are individually not going to be able to create enough anger. The only people that are going to show up are the most insane, the most mentally ill. You need all of the HVAC business owners from Arkansas to come, to show up, to get angry, to get fucking wild. Two things have basically changed after January 6th. One, the sense of entitlement that they felt that in the eyes of the law, they would never get punished for getting unruly and breaking the law. That went away. These guys, they do have something to lose. They have something to lose. They don't want to lose their fucking jobs. Sorry, they don't want to lose their their businesses, right? They don't want to go to jail. So they're not going to do that shit. Secondly, there is no astroturfing on this. And without astroturfing, this is all you get. And we're seeing it time and time again. This is like the third time that we have waited for like a major type of backlash, some kind of January 6th style situation to occur, and it hasn't happened. It doesn't happen when you don't have buses full of people that you're shipping from all around the country, when you don't have the American Enterprise Institute and the Heritage Foundation and the Turning Point USA and all of these other like Koch subsidized Republican organizations pushing for attendance. When you can't tap in to the Republican Party's infrastructure for this kind of protest, your protest turns into this. It's just 100 people. Saying Hunter started the Ukraine war.
Most innocent man that's ever been in the White House, Donald J. Trump, the best president we've ever had. 45/47. He's coming back. This is the longest witch hunt going on 8 years now since he came down the escalator. The guy's an American hero.
Do you believe there's a two-tier system of justice? Do you believe this is unfair?
Obviously. I don't even know how anybody can ask that with a straight face. There's obviously a two-tier justice system. Why is the Clinton crime family running wild? Why is Beijing Biden and the money laundering operation that Hunter Biden started out of Ukraine? He started that war in Ukraine 5 years ago when he was working for Burisma.
There you go, dude. This is all you get. I was saying, I'm tweeting, it seems obvious to me that without the Republican Party's astroturfing and infrastructural support, the only people that show up to protest things like the Trump arraignment and the post-January 6th world are the sweatiest QAnon losers, and they rarely have enough numbers. That's it. That's also something you should understand. Like, Donald Trump certainly still has a shitload of support within the Republican Party, right? However, what I need you to understand is like a lot of the Republican Party's instruments are currently focused on creating like anti-trans activist movements. You know what I mean? They're not as invested in defending Trump. Things will change if Trump becomes the winner of the primary, which I still believe he will. Then the Republican Party will basically have to utilize all of their astroturf movements towards whatever the fuck Donald Trump wants. But right now, it's all the sweatiest, grossest loser perverts. How can Trump still run with charges on record? My friend, in the United States of America, convicts can't even vote. However, they can still run for president. You can be a criminal in prison and still run for president from prison. Joe Exotic has run for president from prison. And the most notorious example, of course, is Eugene V. Debs, a socialist candidate that won more than 1 million votes when he launched his presidential run from prison.
I'm sorry. Yes, he's our president. Loves America, loves the people of America. And we have to help him and support him. All of this is lies.
Dude, fucking all of the Cuban Venezuelan grandmas losing their fucking minds, dude. I love that shit, dude. It fills my heart with fucking joy. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just so fire. Ultimately, this trial does not matter. The question of whether Trump goes to jail depends 100% on the election. This is ultimately a political event, no matter what any lib wants to think. Let the libbers eat today, but let's be real, Trump only faces punishment if he loses. He's gonna campaign so fucking hard because his freedom is at stake and he knows it. I know, but there are also additional problems here. Like, for example, the Democratic primaries, which I think Trump will do really well in, but also that is kind of dependent on how Fox News covers him and his crimes. And secondly, Trump lost to Joe Brandon.
They finally went to a subpoena, and what did he do? According to the government, he lied and obstructed that subpoena. And then they did a search, and they found a lot more documents. And I don't think they're even sure now whether they have everything.
Dude, these photos are so fucking bad, dude. I mean, first of all, I just want to clarify something. I do not give a fuck about classified documents being mishandled. Make no mistake. I am quite literally a fan of people who leak national security secrets. One of the most famous and most honorable examples of said leaking is probably still currently in the broadcast. I'm talking about Chelsea Manning, of course, who is a fucking hero. Having said that, however, the authorities care, and that they're going to make a big deal about it. And if you care about like the institutions or whatever the fuck, like you're going to care about it. And it's fucking objectively hilarious the way in which he conducted himself for no discernible reason or immediate benefit. It makes me so happy. I don't think he fucking took these docs to be like, oh, I'm so gonna sell this to like Iran. You know what I mean? I'm gonna sell these national security secrets to like Mohammed bin Salman or whatever, or Putin. I don't think so. I mean, it'd be really interesting to find out more information if he was genuinely interested in doing so, but like, I don't think that's the reason why he did it. I think the reason why he did it is quite literally because he's a fucking dumbass. He is a dumb, baby-brained idiot who just wanted to have these cool pieces of intel that he could show to people like he did over and over again. And that when people wanted to retrieve said documents, he was like, yeah, I'm the president. Like, fuck you. I'm Donald Trump. I can keep them. Fuck you. These are my souvenirs.
I just want to cry.
What is it about you that makes you cry? You support him so much. You're always around. You're out here in the heat. You travel. You follow him. What is the most emotional part?
Like, I'm mentally ill. That's why.
The injustice that they're doing to him, the injustice that is happening in America.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Judge Amy Berman Jackson's decision states, under the statutory scheme established by the Presidential Records Act, the decision to segregate personal materials from presidential records is made by the president.
But those aren't
during
personal.
the president's-
Those weren't personal. None of your documents were declassified or personal.
In other words, whatever documents a president decides to take with him, he has the right to do so. It's an absolute right. This is the law, and that is something that people have now seen, and it couldn't be more clear. They ought to drop this case immediately because they're destroying the country.
They better drop this case. They gotta drop
This
it.
is why no other president, even those who kept far more documents than I, has ever been even investigated.
Except for Biden
Because
and
the
Mike
sham
Pence.
indictment-
Live fact checking is pretty
As
funny.
can be seen in the picture where someone, not me, I wonder who it might have been, dumped one of the very neatly arranged boxes all over the floor.
Those boxes were the most neatly arranged. They were so neat in the bathroom.
The White House photographers, some are with us today. They took so many pictures, and we saved all of them, and they were in
Oh
those
my
boxes.
God.
Clothing, memorabilia, and much, much more. I hadn't had a chance to go through
Oh my
all the
God.
boxes.
Old people
So
love
long.
mementos. Is that his line of attack? It's mementos,
I was
folks.
prepared to do, but I have a very busy life. I've had a very busy life. They make it more busy because you're always
I have
fighting.
a very
And under
busy
the Sox
life.
decision, there seemed to
Fucking
be no
God.
rush. I wasn't in a rush because that decision was a law. And
Oh
the
my
picture that
God.
was so vile,
His
you
argument
remember
is,
that
I
one?
was going to get around
Angry
to
and
it.
corrupt.
This is so
And those
good.
that-
He said he was getting
Was that
around
way
to
when
it,
they
but he
raided?
couldn't because he was
Wasn't
too
that way they put
busy.
them?
Literally an
Passport, birth
admission of
certificate,
crime. It's a further
and
admission of the
apologize.
crimes.
And they broke into my safe, and you know what they found? Nothing. There was nothing there.
Yeah, because you left them out
Nothing.
in the open. 'Cause you
According
didn't
to the
put it in the
presidential
safe.
record
There was
sheet,
nothing in the safe. I
which
left
is
it out in the
exactly
open.
in a flagrant violation of the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, which protects the right against
It absolutely was not a flagrant violation. It was the execution of a search warrant that a Trump appointed judge
and Sebastian
delivered.
Biden. Biden sent 1,850 boxes to the University of Delaware, making the search very, very difficult for anybody. And he refuses to give them up, and he refuses to let people even look at them.
That's
And then they
not
say how
true.
these
That's
declassified
literally just
documents
not.
were in
He's just saying.
Chinatown.
He's just straight up saying things he did, and he's claiming Biden
We
did
receive
it.
so much money from China. We've learned more about, from the Washington Post, New York Times, about the DOJ's boxes hoax. It's a boxes hoax. Than from prosecutors themselves. We want to read about it. You pick up the Washington Post, which is not doing well, or you pick up the New York Times.
He's
But they'll do
always
better
just
now because
has
the
to
only way
jab
to
at
survive.
everyone.
it's not
What? What does
supposed
that
to
have
be
to do
that
with
way.
anything?
But
This is old school Trump.
people are
He's
supposed to
kind of
learn
back.
from. If the communists get away with this, it won't stop with me. They will not hesitate to ramp up their persecution of Christians, pro-life activists, parents attending school board
Yeah,
meetings.
they're coming
and even
after me
future
because they want to
Republican
come after
candidates,
you, but I'm in the way. That's why they're coming
We must
after me
end it
narrative.
permanently.
They want to come
They
after
want to
you. I'm
silence
in the
me
way.
because I will
It's a
never
meme
let
that he's
them
repeating that he read.
silence you. They want you silenced. And I am the only one that can save this nation because you know they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you.
I love that. Didn't I fucking tell you he was gonna say they're coming after you? I'm just standing in the way. I fucking told you, dude. Oh God, we're so back. He had all the right jabs. Like when he was talking about Washington Post, talking about how it's like a failure, shat on Hillary Clinton, added in like his own personal anecdotes about how much he likes Bill Clinton. Attacking the prosecutor's family with a live criminal court case is a bold move. Oh, I was expecting nothing less from Donald Trump. I was gonna say he didn't just attack the prosecutor, he attacked the prosecutor's wife. He said the prosecutor who's coming after him, his wife made a Michelle Obama documentary. I mean, it's fire. He's just, that was awesome. Also, one thing I have to mention is he did not even like any kind of addressal on why he did the things he did, which I want to know personally. He basically said, I was going to give it back. I didn't have to, but I was going to give it back, which is like an insane take. I mean, you didn't do that. That's why there's a fucking criminal investigation. That's why you're going to court. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, yeah, I was going to give it back, but, you know.
All right. Yeah, let's watch this. What's going on at Best Buy? The last time I went to Best Buy was about a month ago, and I felt like, what the hell is going on here? There was almost no employees. It felt like a lot of the displays were not set up properly. It felt like it was closing. As someone who had been inside multiple electronics stores, Circuit City, I can't think of any others right now, but Circuit City comes to mind. As they were closing, it felt like that. Very bizarre. Actually, I've been inside another Best Buy near us that closed, and it felt just like that. Although this is in our biggest mall, and it's one of our main Best Buys. I don't know if it's the flagship Best Buy, because we have another one in our city that has all the camera and Apple stuff at it, so I think that one's technically the flagship Best Buy. But let's watch this video, Retail Archaeology, what is going on at Best Buy.
Gift cards. I'm sure I'm not the only one that has a pile of these laying around. I went looking for one the other day, and as I was going through some of the gift cards that I had, I came across this old Best Buy gift card. I don't shop at Best Buy very often, so I never think to go looking for a Best Buy gift card in my stash. And when I looked at this one, I was surprised to see that this one is from 2015. So I've probably been sitting on this for like 7 or 8 years now. Surprisingly, there was $25 on it still. I don't think there's any money left on this gift card though. I just like to keep it as kind of a neat souvenir. I should probably spend this one though before it also becomes useless. I decided to go to the same Best Buy location that I used to go to in high school to buy music and movies at. I figured $25 should be enough to get a record or a movie. Like I mentioned earlier, Best Buy isn't a store that I shop at very often, and as a matter of fact, I can't remember the last time I was in one. It may have been 4 or 5 years ago when I did a video covering the fact that they were no longer going to carry CDs. When I got here, I wasn't planning on doing any filming. I was just gonna grab a record and head out, but after spending a few minutes in the store, I was shocked at how empty it was. This was in the middle of the afternoon on the weekend when I would expect there to be some people wandering around the store.
Same, I went in the
I
middle
really
of the
started
day.
getting Fry's Electronics vibes, and at that point I decided to do some filming. Now, this
Fry's,
video
that's
isn't
good.
intended to be like a deep dive on Best Buy, although I will be doing that eventually. In this video, I just want to cover some of their recent financial news and also just my experience in their store as a customer who hasn't been in a Best Buy for
bizarre.
several years.
Yeah.
I did eventually make my way to
Empty
where the
shelves,
records
dog.
were, and I was actually kind of shocked at how limited the selection was. I think my local
Shocked?
Target has a better selection than this. Even though there wasn't
Yeah.
much of a selection, I did
Suck.
find something I wanted. I grabbed the Purple Rain soundtrack. I have this on CD and on cassette, but I don't have the record. I wonder how many other formats this was released on. I did find one other small display of records, which was weird. Why are these separated over here?
Why not?
Now, I did grab that Purple Rain soundtrack, but I figured I should go check out the movies too, just to make sure there's not anything over here I wouldn't rather have instead. But like the record selection, the movie selection here is also very small, smaller than I expected it to be.
Really?
I know that the sales of movies and TV shows on physical media have been declining, so the small selection makes sense.
Declining is an
but it still
understatement.
sucks now that the streaming services are constantly removing things.
They have absolutely cratered.
There wasn't much to look at here, really, so I decided to go check out the video games and see if maybe there was something here on clearance. And I was kind of shocked to see the limited selection of stuff here as well. Although
This
I
looks
was
better than
very
my
happy to
Best Buy.
see a actual video game demo unit, I'm glad that Nintendo still does these. I used to play Gran Turismo on a PlayStation 1 demo unit here.
Fuck yeah.
There wasn't
demo
really
units are
anything
the
over
shit.
in the video game department that I wanted to spend my gift card on either, so I decided to just kind of
you
check
don't
out the
wanna
rest
buy
of the
that,
store and kind of
air
experience
conditioner
the
with your
emptiness
$25
of
gift
it.
card?
The stacks of products just
Those are
thrown
cool. Those
into
are
the middle of the
$500.
aisles was helping to make it feel like Fry's Electronics in here, and because
Yeah.
it was feeling like that in here, when I got home I decided to just really quickly look and see how Best Buy has been doing the last few years.
Not good.
And apparently things haven't been great. For example, sales this holiday season were down, and comparable sales for the last fiscal year were down almost 10%. They've also closed 70 stores over the last 3 years and
Yep,
laid
one
off
near my
about
house.
20% of their workforce, or about
Sounds about right.
25,000 people.
Yeah, there's no one in the store.
Best Buy has also said that they plan to close around 20 or 30 stores this year, and then 15 to 20 stores each year after that. I had kind of assumed that things weren't going great for them, but I don't really hear them talked about much in the media like Sears and JCPenney's and Macy's and the struggles that those chains have, so I was kind of surprised with just how bad things have been.
What's the point?
They're
right?
definitely on my radar now, though. And I will be checking out more locations because, like I said, I haven't been to a Best Buy in several years, so I have no idea if them
there's
being
lots-
this
there's
empty
like
is a
a lot
normal
of
thing for all of
stuff,
their
but it's
stores, or
just
if this
weird
just
looking.
happens to be a store that's really struggling.
No.
This location has one of their Magnolia home theater centers, and I thought Magnolia was just a goofy name that they gave their home theater section of their stores, but apparently Magnolia was actually a small store chain that sold audio-visual equipment that Best Buy acquired in 2000. This home theater
Yeah,
demo
it was like a
room
high-end.
seems like it hasn't had any customers in it in a
Nope.
while, and
No one-
seems like it's seen better days.
No one does that
Which
shit
is
anymore.
another thing that this place has in common with old Fry's Electronics location.
There's a place near my house called Stereo Advantage, which is pretty much what sounds like they acquired. Fantastic place if you want high-end audio, video stuff, but seems less and less necessary the further we get into the future. I don't think it's... I think my parents have actually called them because they had an install of surround sound system, which is really nice. They need to upgrade their TV. Their TV's from back in like 2006 or something like that. But everything still works great. The surround sound is awesome. We've upgraded to an Apple TV. So this kind of shit is not surprising to me whenever you go into most of these places, because I like to look at speakers. They haven't been well maintained for years, so this section doesn't specifically show me that it's deteriorating, but it's interesting to see that they haven't fixed up other places either. It's par for the course for Best Buys.
It really was just kind of musty and dusty in here. I don't necessarily think that Best Buy is doomed, But I do think that what they've gone through the last 3 years and just some of the stuff that I saw and experienced in the store are not encouraging. Best Buy has struggled before, though, in the past, and they've come back from it. And like I said, after I've had a chance to visit some more locations and do some more research, I will be doing a deeper dive video into Best Buy. Speaking of videos, the reason why this one is as short as it is because I'm in the process of working on some other much longer videos and I just need a little bit more time to get them done. The next episode that comes out will be covering a very dead mall in Southern California. Back to the subject of Best Buy though, if I had to sum up my shopping experience with one word at this Best Buy location, it would be depressing. I remember many years ago, I would be excited to come to this location to get the latest CD or video game or a movie or something. Now, it's just completely devoid of people. It's kind of cluttered with just stuff thrown all over the place, and it's just filled with a lot of expensive stuff that nobody really has the money to buy right now. That's where we're going to wrap up this quick look at Best Buy, though. As always, everyone, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this quick look at Best Buy. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also make sure to follow at the social
Alright, next up is a video by a channel called Middle 8 called When Your Band Finally Goes Mainstream. It's about the Kings of Leon. I've got a few of their albums on shuffle. They're okay, but to be honest, aside from their hits, very forgettable in my opinion. So let's check them out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kings of Leon.
From indie darlings to global superstars, Kings of Leon ignited the music scene with their fourth studio album, Only by the Night.
This is this one and then the one right after.
With chart-topping hits like Sex on Fire and You Somebody, they skyrocketed to fame. But those very tracks are also why some fans decided that Kings of Leon had sold out and forgotten their southern rock roots.
I love you guys no matter what. Like, this album's really good, but before that, like, you guys are great. So I wish that people don't judge you by this album, because before you were great.
Whether intentional or not, Only by the Night propelled Kings of Leon into a realm from which there was no turning back, transforming them from a beloved cult band to a momentary global sensation, despite their own mixed feelings about it. But what most don't know is that this overwhelming success almost destroyed them.
I don't really know anything about the
If you
Kings of
enjoy
Leon.
watching fascinating stories about your favorite artists, make sure you're subscribed to Middle 8. The Followill brothers grew up as preacher's kids, going from one church to another in the southern United States. But they broke free from that sheltered life and embarked on a wild journey of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. After their parents' divorce, older brothers Caleb and Nathan moved to Nashville and fell in love with country music. By 1999, their younger brother Jared and cousin Matthew joined them in Nashville to form the band Kings of Leon. They soon caught the attention of RCA Records and decided to lock themselves in a basement with an ounce of weed for a month to see what transpired. They emerged with their debut EP, Holy Roller Novocaine, which would become the basis for their first album, Youth and Young Manhood. They not only nailed the retro chic look, but also blended in some gritty garage rock with southern boogie. Their fast and loose take on 70s southern rock was the counterpart to the Strokes' New York sound, making the Kings a bit of an outlier in the garage rock revival. But they toured the album like crazy and partied just as hard. In those early days, they found more success in the UK than at home in the US. From their image to their story, and most importantly their music, British fans ate it up. Their Their second album, Aha Shake Heartbreak, delivered more of their southern-infused garage rock. But then they met Bono. In 2005, the Kings of Leon would open up for U2 on their Vertigo tour, and it would forever change the way the Kings approach their music. Now, opening for U2 is no easy task. The Irish band set the bar pretty high when it comes to grandeur. U2's sound had been filling arenas for decades. The Kings were out of their element, but it's clear that watching U2 perform night after night left a lasting impression on the Follow Wills, because their first album following that tour sounded like a brand new band.
I'll be there waiting.
Because of the time saw Kings of Leon transforming into an arena act before our very ears. The music became more expansive, darker, bigger.
I don't care what nobody says, no, I'm gonna be a lover.
We knew that we wanted to take some risks, and we've been touring with bands that have been playing big arenas, and so when you're coming up with ideas in an arena, they naturally just sound bigger.
They were even being more adventurous sonically, emulating the band they thought they'd ought to be. They even started ditching the mustaches and retro haircuts too. And guess what? America started taking notice. The Kings of Leon were now a mainstream indie band, one that everyone listens to and expects great things from. And this is where Only by the Night comes in. It didn't take them very long to follow up on their previous record, but by now they were far from their southern rock roots. Everything about this album was bigger and frankly better. The melodies, the ambition, the production, the lyrics, you can finally understand Caleb's vocals at times. The opener saw them pushing the dark and grand sound they explored on their previous record even further. While Crawl showed off a rougher rock cut built to fill stadiums. But let's get to the real stars of the show here. Sex on Fire and You Somebody.
This song is so good.
And Matthew finally was like, I think this song's going to be a hit. And so I was like, well, it's definitely not going on the record. If somebody tells me something's a hit, then I usually try to leave it off the record.
Yeah, he does that a lot. It'll be
label,
a song that I say or someone says is probably going to be popular. And he'll be like, oh, I mean, I think it's just in his head. He'll say, I don't like that song. I literally think he doesn't like it anymore. I don't think it's just because we say it's going to be popular.
But why? That's a really... It's so silly. I don't know why. It's just this fear of, oversaturating, the market or whatever. But
I get depressed for a couple days.
Yeah,
like,
that actually happened.
It's not going on the record because obviously he makes all the decisions. So, but,
I don't make all the decisions.
But no, he came
I pick
around
out the
to
outfits, but that's about it.
Sex on Fire was the first single off the album, even though Caleb initially thought it was terrible and almost scrapped it. It reached number 1 in the UK and finally propelled the band's popularity in the US, peaking at number 56 on the Billboard Hot 100.
We have written a lot of great songs, and for the first one to be a hit about sex being on fire, like what does that even mean, if Sex on Fire is the song that gets people into our back catalog, I'm happy. When I thought I would win a Grammy, I didn't think it would be for Sex on Fire. I thought it would be, for a song that was a tad deeper than that. I've written songs about life and death and religion and all these important things. I think I've tackled it pretty well. And then our first big hit was about your sex being on fire. So I didn't get it, but now, as soon as I go,
people freak out.
And the crowd goes,
They play it a lot in clubs.
They like this song, so God bless them. I mean, that means they like us.
It's the kind of song that becomes the perfect lead single for a highly anticipated album. And Kings of Leon delivered not just one, but 2 of them. You Somebody turned out to be even bigger.
You heard this song for a while.
This was the sort of rock power ballad straight out of Coldplay's catalog. You Somebody struck a chord with listeners, capturing that universal feeling of yearning for love, whether it's reciprocated or not. The song became the band's mainstream breakthrough, peaking at number 4 on the Hot 100 and spending 57 weeks on that chart. Suddenly, Kings of Leon were the biggest band on the planet. and you know what that means.
So yeah, it's just one of those things where people really don't like the fact that, you know, we're not their pocket band anymore, that we're actually getting, yeah, they say we're sellouts and stuff, but we're billionaires. I mean, it's, you know, it just had to happen. It just had to happen at some point, you know. I mean, this is our 4th album. So.
I know the standard answer has to be, you know, it comes with the territory, we get it, blah, 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 but on some level, does it bug you?
They had just taken another step into a more accessible mainstream rock sound, and some fans declared that the band had sold out. It's inevitable. The more mainstream fans you gain, the more alternative ones you seem to lose, and Kings of Leon had now reached superstar status. Whether it was their change in musical style, their increased commercialization, feeling like the band had lost their authenticity, or just the overexposure in hearing those 2 hits absolutely everywhere in 2009, many fans who were first attracted to the band might have felt left behind. They were left between enjoying their biggest win while having their most devoted fans turn against them. It's a conflict that almost destroyed the band from the inside out.
You know, we just do things the way that we do it, and we've never changed, and we've always just tried to make music that we felt we were proud of, and for some reason this record, there are a lot of people that have related to it, and so that just means, you know, we've always been a hard-working band, but now we just kind of have to work a little harder to cover the ground of, you know, our fans.
We actually saw you perform at T in the Park, and during the performance you made a bit of a speech saying that you love performing in the UK because you always get an amazing reception. I mean, do you sort of, have you come to expect that now, or I mean, how do you sort of take the reaction that you get?
We'll see how they are. I might have a speech saying the opposite, like, man, you guys really died.
First came their much criticized headline performance at Reading Festival in 2009. The reception from the crowd wasn't living up to the band's expectations, and Caleb made it very clear.
This is Reading, right? Well, come on. I thought you guys were supposed to be like the loudest crowd in the world. It's about fucking time. Come on, everybody. I'm trying to hold back and not say anything negative, man, but I hope it warms up out here because we need it. We need you guys to help us do this, you know? Start the fucking song.
The band eventually completed their set, but not without apparently destroying their instruments and leaving. They even took to Twitter to vent their frustrations, insulting the Reading crowd and expressing disappointment in their reception. You see, the band struggled to connect with their changing audience, which now consisted of new listeners who didn't appreciate their earlier work.
It's strange, though, because when you're playing these clubs, everyone that is there is pretty much a big fan. And when you're playing these arenas, the odds of you having 75% that know more than your latest album is not always the case. One night we played Sex on Fire, and as soon as we finished, a bunch of people left, and it was just like, really?
Caleb later admitted that they probably deserve some of the blame because with their success, he expected everyone to cheer for everything they did. Constant touring and some disastrous shows, including some pooping pigeons, added to their exhaustion. By now, their family bond began to feel more like a contractual obligation, and it was right about the time they began recording their follow-up album, Come Around Sundown.
I've actually never heard this. I've heard Mechanical Bull,
While
which
commercially
I think was
successful, it took more of a beating from fans and critics than their previous effort. Turns out the band didn't enjoy the recording process much either, feeling a huge amount of pressure to maintain their momentum. While touring the album in 2011, Caleb had an onstage meltdown during a show in Dallas.
I'm gonna go backstage for a second, I'm gonna vomit, I'm gonna drink a beer, and I'm gonna come back out and I'm gonna play 3 more songs. Y'all ready?
He never came back.
There's no words right now. Honestly, it's beyond our control. I think it's just a little unfit to maybe play the rest of the show, so we're there. We're really sorry, guys. We love you guys so much. I'm so sorry. It's not about hands. I know you guys fucking hate us. I'm so sorry.
It led to the cancellation of the rest of their 2011 tour. The band cited Caleb's vocal issues and exhaustion as reasons for the cancellation. Caleb had been getting regular steroid injections in his throat to maintain his voice while on tour, and that apparently also led to a volatile atmosphere within the band. Combine that with copious amounts of alcohol and the growing egos of a young rock group, it was time to take a break. The Dallas incident prompted a year-long hiatus that was crucial in preventing the band from falling apart.
You can only be so close together for so long, you know, because when you're on tour, you're never apart from each other. Like, you see each other at the hotel, at sound check, and you're just bound to get into fights if you're together that long, you know, especially because when you're on the road, you drink and stuff. And drinking always causes fights, drinking and bowling.
After the massive success of Only by the Night, Kings of Leon faced creative challenges and struggled to find their direction. Their albums continue to find commercial success, supported by some solid singles on occasion, but as a whole, they've all been seen as somewhat lackluster efforts that left fans wanting more. This tumultuous journey of Kings of Leon serves as a stark reminder of the lasting impacts and the tough balancing act required for when your band finally goes mainstream. Speaking of another band who kind of have a similar trajectory, is Coldplay. I've made a video diving into their discography and kind of where most people thought they went wrong. Subscribe, and thanks for watching.
No, I don't smoke bad stuff. I smoke like tea and crack. But no marijuana, definitely no.
All right, that was some good shit. Let's see here. Patrick CC. Let's see here. Lil Dicky's fake rap career is more successful than his real rap career, I'm guessing.
White rappers are usually labeled as corny when they enter the music industry. Many rappers have this cool mystique about them, which attaches a persona to complement the extraordinary lifestyle they live and rap about. Often when white rappers try to create this cool persona, it comes off as inauthentic and is rejected by the masses, which then leads to artists like Lil Dicky, who lean into the white rapper stereotype to ironically find a place in hip-hop. Now make no mistake, Lil Dicky is undoubtedly a talented rapper. What we didn't realize is that his life story of being an out-of-place suburban white dude reaching the pinnacle of the industry would make for way better television than music. His show Dave on FX, which is essentially about his life story, is absolutely dominating right now. But because of the success of his show, Dicky has only released 2 songs in the past 8 years. This is going to create a whole new set of problems for Dave, and if he doesn't make the right choices, his career will be in a dangerous position. A few months before Lil Dicky released his first song, his girlfriend and parents begged him not to pursue a rap career. On a vacation in Hawaii, they told him his music was too racy, too edgy, and that this music would potentially ruin his potential for getting jobs in the future. In hindsight, the only reason he has a job now is because of this music. In late 2012 and early 2013, Dicky was preparing to release his debut mixtape called So Hard. He was now 24, 2 years out of college, living in San Francisco and working at an ad agency. All of his extra money and free time was spent producing a rollout for this mixtape, but this tape was actually the beginning of his plan to become a comedian. He loved rapping, but he thought it would be easier to get attention through music since there wasn't much competition in the comedy rap space. Then he would use that attention to move on to his actual dream.
I always knew I was going to make a very serious attempt at being like an entertainer one day, most likely a comedian. And like when I graduated college, I thought about the best way to approach that. And I thought rap was an interesting angle because I could be just as funny as I always could be, in my opinion, but you could get noticed way easier. There's way fewer competitors. Like I didn't see anybody in the comedic rap space.
His plan was to release a visual or piece of content every single week for 5 months straight. This was obviously risky, spending that much time, effort, and money on a rollout before ever releasing a single song. Lucky for him, his very first song went viral. On April 25th, 2013, Lil Dicky released his first music video for the song Ex-Boyfriend, and this was barely a song. It was a story. Lil Dicky got into a romantic relationship with a girl, and the night they were going to sleep together, they bumped into her ex-boyfriend. He thought the ex was a borderline perfect male specimen that Dicky could not compete with. A whole verse was dedicated to how nice this guy's penis was. Make sure you're drinking water while I tell you about today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, the best place to play fantasy sports. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action with Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. Just find your favorite player, or any player, 2 to 5 PC and get those picks in. Thanks, Underdog Fantasy. Dickie decided to ditch the girl to prevent himself from disappointing her until she ran after Dickie and told him not to worry since they dated in the 2nd grade, and Dickie got to smash. The song got shared on Reddit, which would ultimately get pushed to the front page, and as a result, the video got over 1 million views in the first 24 hours. He drove all the traffic from this video to his website to download the full mixtape. So Hard was 17 tracks long. Most of those were remixes over really popular beats or stolen YouTube beats. Most people go viral and don't know what to do, or they have nothing to follow it up. But as we know, Dickie had 5 months of content that was ready to be released. He dropped Staying In, Sports, Jewish Flow, and Too High, which all generated millions of views in the first few days of release. All of his songs were rooted in a great degree of irony, like his song Too High, which starts off by him saying, "Every rapper got a track about smoking weed, so I didn't really have a choice." Through these tracks, we got to know that he was a goofy suburban Jewish kid who was a serial masturbator and obsessed with the idea of getting laid. It's great to finally see a rapper that doesn't take himself so seriously. Dickie approached rap more like comedy. He understood people were going to make fun of him in the rap game, so he just beat them to the punch. Self-deprecating humor is a go-to strategy for a lot of comedians. It's an easy way to secure some laughs when you say what other people are thinking. Plus, it gives you the perception of being humble and trustworthy. He also wasn't afraid to make a racy or edgy song/music video. As we know, a big part of comedy is riding a thin line of controversy. A lot of comedians are constantly trying to push the limits to get their audience to laugh at the things that they're traditionally not supposed to laugh at. Dickie was not afraid. Lots of haters out there. Listen to a little bit more of his music. He's super talented, and the sense of humor brings some much needed light air to rap music. There's no way you can say he's not amazingly talented lyrically.
Hey, first of all, what's really funny is how the rest of you rap. If I mumble something dumb about me running the trap, then it'd be another young